Hi, welcome to Happy Tales. I'm Cheryl Rosenthal, Communications Coordinator here at the Oshkosh Area Humane Society.
And I'm Jody Geiger, the Executive Director.
And today our show is going to be about cats and dogs and animal overload. We're going to talk a little bit today, Joni, about the sheer number of animals that we see coming into the Humane Society and what effect that has on our community, on our staff, and animals in general.
Sure. We've talked before, Cheryl, about pet overpopulation as a general topic as far as like how it affects the nation and animals as a whole, but we're really going to go in depth about what's going on here at our shelter.
Right. I think sometimes people think, well, animal overload or animals, pet overpopulation, that's in the bigger cities.
Right.
It's not here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And I think the sad fact is that if people would stop to think about it, when you go for a ride in your car, every city that you drive through has an animal shelter.
Right.
Or some type of animal control facility. And unfortunately, every single one of those is full,
right.
especially during the summertime.
Right.
And this is a very stressful time of the year, and usually around this time of the year, mid-September to the first part of October, we usually see a decline in the number of animals coming in. And it just isn't happening.
Yeah, over the years it really hasn't been happening, and I think that there's kind of a misconception sometimes with people in shelters, and we get a lot of people that come in and they're excited about volunteering or even working here because they love animals, and their perception is that you're helping animals, and of course you are, but then there's the other side, and there's that dark side, which is really about the sheer volume of animals and what do you do with them.
Right.
And how do you place them, and how do you get people to come to a shelter? And there's lots of fine lines, and there's lots of gray area in animal shelters. It's really not a black and white situation. And honestly, I've been in this business for 18 years, Cheryl, and every year it just seems worse. It's really not, but it's hard. It's really a difficult time to go through the summer, to go through these sheer volume of animals that come through, and the frustration that you have about placing them.
And I think just like most of the people in the community, they want to save animals. They want us to save animals.
Sure.
But until they actually understand the volume of animals that we're
Right.
getting in a day, and we're going to be talking about some of those numbers. And we're also going to have a brief conversation with a relatively new staff member
Right.
Who was hired, I believe it was early spring, and she has just experienced her first summer here at the Humane Society and has seen firsthand what we've known all along, and to get, again, another perspective on what happens.
To get an objective perspective on that, because obviously Jessica is the gal that we're going to be talking to. Jessica, just like everybody else, loves animals, supports her Humane Society, and did before she came working for us, but really now has a better understanding of really what's going on and really about the numbers. So let's do that.
Okay.
Well, this is Jessica, and Jessica actually started this spring and went through a summer with us, and now it's mid-September, and we're going to talk a little bit about what your impressions were and what you thought about working.
Well, I can start off by saying that being a new person here at the shelter, you do not fully get a understanding of how much of a problem the overpopulation can be. You hear about it, you can read about it, but until you deal with it hands-on every day, you just don't, you can't even get your brain to comprehend the amount of animals that come through a shelter on any given day. Oshkosh is not by far a big city, and we still, the magnitude of cats alone can just blow somebody's mind.
So how did you feel about that, Jessica? When were you stunned? Were you?
I was shocked. You kind of try to mentally prepare yourself for working in a shelter, and you can do that to the best of your ability, but there's nothing. I was not at all remotely aware of how severe the problem was. It's every day we see them.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that is really true, is that it is every day. It's and you have no control of that. One day you might get 14 cats in, the next day you might get 21, the next day maybe you'll get 3, and then you feel good about your day. So the truth of the matter is you've got no control over that. And we're an open admission shelters, which basically says we don't turn anything away. So it's difficult. And how does, okay, it's your day has started, and it's later in the afternoon, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're taking your 8th or 9th surrender for the day. How are you feeling about this?
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It is truly exhausting. And you have to go home at night and just shut it out, because you can't take it home, because even your family members at home aren't going to be able to understand the stress that it brings. And not only brings on the people that have to deal with it, but trying to provide a sense of security and comfort for the animals that come in as well.
Right, yeah. And, I'm assuming that, obviously you're not working here for the massive amount of money that you make. So, but you're here, or you applied for this job because you truly love animals.
Absolutely.
And you want to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like you're doing that?
Yeah, I do. Especially when you can take the cases where you get the unspayed female who is terrorizing her family because she just wants to be outside, and you're able to turn her around and get her spayed and get her into a good home where she's settled and relaxed.
Right.
Yeah, I think with every little cat or dog that we can place back out there, I think, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Especially because we're able to take them steps to make them a better family pet.
As a relatively new person that's come on board with a shelter, is there anything that you can share to the public, or anything that you want to convey to them, the general public, as far as like, how do we impress on people what it's really like? And, obviously when you started, you conceptually really didn't have any idea.
Right. The biggest thing is walk through the doors, walk through the hallways, look in our galleries, look at the cats, look at the dogs. I mean, we hear on a daily basis, oh, there's so many cats here, there's so many cats here. And for all the cats we have up here that are available for adoption, we have rooms full that aren't ready for adoption yet. You can preach it as much as you want, but spay and neuter, spay and neuter. That investment not only gives you a lifelong family pet, but it helps prevent the suffering of kittens and puppies that have nowhere to go.
Right. Simply being born is the problem.
Yep.
There are more animals than there are homes, and that's the bottom line. So anyways, thanks, Jessica. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and giving us a different perspective on that. So you survived your first summer, and there's more to come.
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
All right, great. Thank you.